These are photographs. This is a person that was a marathoner that I represented, a person that had a black belt in karate. This became important because one thing that happens with a brain injury is that they will get every medical record that the person's ever had, and they will look for any signs of any neurological condition. And because our brain controls so much, the neurological conditions are headaches, dizziness, depression. Most of us in the room at one time or another have had headaches, dizziness, perhaps bouts of depression. So they make a lot out of it. This particular client had diabetes. And so what their neuropsychiatrist said is he had a bit of a gait problem. He had a bit of a kind of a stumble when he walked, and the neuropsychiatrist said, well, that's because his blood sugars are always out of control. He doesn't take care of his diabetes, and anybody knows if you're a pretty bad diabetic, you can have dizziness and balance problems. Well, that's why I asked him to explain then how this guy could get a black belt in karate and could run marathons if he had these dizziness and balance problems. So you got to be prepared to take on those kind of defenses. This is another quick exhibit that I used in a deposition. I would have used at trial. And when I say best evidence, what I really mean is what is the best evidence in your case? And sometimes the best evidence might be something really sophisticated, or like an animation that I'm going to show you, or it might be something as simple as this. These were the medical records prior to the injury. And what you can see really quick there is we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 years. And my client only went to the doctor once each year, and then he went to a follow-up each time. And in 2008, he didn't go to the doctor at all. Yet they were trying to use these records, they were trying to use the material in the records to suggest the client had a chronic ongoing problem with balance and depression. And we had another chart to compare all the medical visits after the injury. Again, just a quick way for a jury to understand, wait a minute, this doesn't look chronic to me. I go to the doctor more than that. Gary's changed completely. These are the themes in a brain injury case. And I know there's been a lot of talk. A lot of folks have been trying cases and not even putting in the medical bills because they anchor the verdict too low. And in these brain injury cases, many times in mild brain injury cases, the medical bills may not be that much because, frankly, there's not a lot of treatment. So you might only have $20,000 or $30,000 in medical bills. But you, hopefully, if you're trying the case and you have the coverage to justify it, you'll have lost wages, and you want to talk about those things. You may not even want to put the medical bills in. But what you really want to talk to the people about is how a person's life has changed. And these are things that a lot of people with brain injury have. A lot of our veterans have. They're overwhelmed in public. They're overwhelmed with stimulus. Some can't drive. In my particular case, my fellow had post-traumatic stress disorder on top of the brain injury. Real quick aside about that, post-traumatic stress disorder classically has been defined in the DSM-IV. One of the elements has been that you have to remember the event. Those of you who have dealt with post-traumatic stress, there's 4 elements. One is you have to have remembered the event. So for many years, and even up to the present time, there are defense experts that will say you cannot have traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder out of the same event because the hallmark of traumatic brain injury is amnesia for the event. So if the person doesn't remember the event, by definition, they cannot have post-traumatic stress disorder. One of the fortunate things that has come out of the unfortunate wars we've had is that now soldiers are coming back from the IED devices, and they've had concussions. They don't remember the event, but they also have post-traumatic stress disorder. So the DSM-IV is actually changing. And I think you can find the change online. So that actually be changed. So be aware of that, because you will still get doctors and psychologists that say you cannot have traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder go hand in hand. In fact, folks, it often does.